All right, now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind, but we're going to have a show.
And welcome. This is a great day to be here. It's the day after Thanksgiving.
Morning.
I don't know when you are listening or watching this, but we're doing this now live the day after Thanksgiving. Fortunately for you, listening and watching, the stories we'll be doing, most have no expiration date. They are evergreen. And I'll start with a story that went down at Thanksgiving. But first, I want to welcome Kim, who is our... Morning, Kim.
How are you?
And Albert is here. Albert, hello.
Albert, thank you.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Welcome back from the Philippines. I know you've been back with Kim, I believe, earlier this week, but I haven't had a chance to welcome you back. So
yeah, I'm back in the Niners, and the Niners are back. So we're
Niners had a huge day. Niners kind of where they need to be, right? Where they're surging as we approach playoff season. Albert, wouldn't you say that, Commissioner?
It was a classic Niners performance. A dominant defensive line, working the run game, that opened up the passing game, and easy win against the Seahawks. Actually, it got a little scary in the third quarter. But.
Yeah, and the Seahawks, never a gimme, although I certainly didn't consider them a gimme game, but it was last night. I'm grateful everybody's here. I am so, just because it is the Thanksgiving season, thankful that we have the support of our community of supporters on Patreon and PayPal. You know, we're essentially a completely crowd-funded show. I was talking to someone about this at Thanksgiving because they're trying to get a project launched, and they come out of legacy media, right? They go to Sony and Paramount and 20th Century Fox syndication, and they're trying to sell a show there. And I said, forget about that.
Sell ours too? No. Oh,
forget about the studios. Forget about the studios. Mm-hmm. Launch your show if there's enough support. Now, they don't need crowdfunding because they're connected to like rich people, and those deep pockets can help fund a pilot or even a series. And then I said, put it on YouTube, and you will be able to, with your own platform, be your own boss and own your own stuff. So I was just having this very conversation last night. So, look, I know a lot of you are distraught today about this Hall & Oates lawsuit. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, I guess they are suing each other.
What?
I know.
It's a real disappointment.
When Hall and Oates are suing each other, I mean,
There's never been anything like this.
Yes, there hasn't. Hall & Oates, I've seen tons of interviews through the decades. Hall & Oates, I've been to their shows multiple times. I know people who've worked for Hall, and I know people who've worked for Oates. And they always, I thought, got along. In interviews, they're asked directly, do you guys get along? Have you ever had fights? And they always, with solidarity, said, no, we don't. We don't fight. We've always gotten along. But now, they are in a lawsuit against each other.
Why are you yelling?
With a restraining order.
What he's got going here is a situation.
It is a situation with Hall and Oates. I mean,
There's never been anything like this.
I just think it is an extraordinary moment in our nation's history. And so No, I didn't want that. I wanted, where's the history? The one where the lady says that there's never been anything like this in our history?
There is nothing in our history that quite compares to this.
All right, we would have been better if I didn't mispunch it. Let me put my credibility glasses on. This is the last day that they'll be here. Such a rare privilege to listen live, says B.O. with a $10 super chat. Big shout out.
Big shout out.
Hope all are having a lovely holiday weekend. Thanks, MT Crew, for working today, so the rest of us can have the opportunity to enjoy your wit and wisdom on our day off. Come on, B.O. Big shout out.
Big shout out.
And another big shout out.
Big shout out.
It is really great, thank you, to be here, and we have a lot to get to. But look, take the Hall & Oates thing, put it aside. It'll be okay. Hey, Mark T, my Coachella Valley vanilla tea arrived today. I can't wait to try it. Yeah, Dan, I think you'll love everything out of that Coachella Valley world. Kim likes it. Courtney drinks the tea and loves it. I mean, you'll love it. So I'm glad to hear that it arrived safely. And yeah, big shout out to you for supporting one of our sponsors. So
The Mark Thompson Show.
I want to tell you a story from Thanksgiving, and it's good. And I will tell you in a moment. The other thing, though, I wanted to mention, John Oates is a man-eater, says Phineas. I get it.
Big shout out.
I don't know if it's big shout-out worthy, but all right. All right. So everybody dropped onto that story about the hostages, the Niagara Falls situation with the explosion of that car. Everybody jumped on it with both feet.
That wasn't just a car. That was a Bentley.
That's the point. It was a Bentley. They didn't release that for a few. The information was coming out in drips and drabs, but the one thing everybody jumped on with both feet was, it's terrorism, man. It's terrorism. I'm on a thread with a bunch of, like, not a bunch, but a couple of MAGA people.
Why?
I don't know if they're literally MAGA people, but they're, you know, like, they would call themselves conservatives. They're definitely anti-lib, okay? And they were, of course, this was coming out, they literally said this in one text. Of course, the libs pressure the media not to call it terrorism when everybody knows it is terrorism. So I'm thinking, okay. So then I jumped on, I go, it's not clear that it is terrorism. I don't know why you're saying that. And then 20 minutes later, it looks like it's not terrorism. What were the details of that, Kim?
Apparently, the people, what it looks like at this point, they had come from a nearby casino. And they were traveling
I like
at
them
an
already.
excessive rate of speed, hit a curb, and went airborne. Wow. And that Bentley exploded in a fireball.
Listen to Kim. Kim brings it to life for us.
Yeah.
That Bentley exploded like a fireball.
Kim, how are you?
It did. I mean, with such gusto that's why they were concerned it was terrorism. Were there explosives aboard or what?
Well, I'll also say that those Bentleys are really heavy cars. For you to get airborne in one, I mean, that's like a stuntman's difficult stunt.
Apparently
to get a car that heavy.
A little bit of speed and you're good to go.
I guess so they think that again, there might have been some technical malfunction.
I didn't hear the technical malfunction unless it's between the
If the accelerator got stuck or something.
Is that what you heard? Because all I heard was that, you know, they'd come from a casino, which I would expect there had to be some drinking involved, and they hit the curb.
I'd be willing to bet my lunch that there's alcohol involved.
I think that vehicle was so obliterated that they'll never really know.
Wow. Well, that's that update. And again, not terrorism, just people coming back from the casino. They were in their 50s. It was a couple, right? Yeah. And now, so that's that. The other...
The Mark Thompson Show.
I will get to my story, and I'll also, in a moment, I was at a Thanksgiving last night. It was a great Thanksgiving. And the guy next to me said something to me that I promise you, none of you have ever had said to you at any Thanksgiving. Any of you. If you're listening in replay, if you're listening on, I promise, none of you have had what was said to me, said to you at a Thanksgiving dinner table.
Did he proposition you for a good time in the restroom or what?
It is not sexually related, no. It is just weird.
Is it wrong? That's where I went first?
I will get, no, I think, you know, with your tendency toward the lurid, Kim, I'm not at all surprised.
Kim, how are you?
What?
So, yeah, here is from Maud. Wow, with a super sticker for 25. Big shout out.
Big shout out.
Maud Day says, for some nitro for your Bentley. Exactly. It was like that is a nitro funny car move that you can get your Bentley airborne. I don't care how fast you're going. Extraordinary. Love you, Maud. Thank you for the super sticker. Super stickers and super chats are live, and we very much appreciate it. what was I saying? So I'll tell you about that. I'll tell you about what was said and then the attendant story. But before I do, there is big news, and I wanted to...
The Mark Thompson Show.
I want to ask you about the hostage situation. There has been a release of some of the hostages that were taken out of Israel and removed and taken to Gaza, in that attack by Hamas, in that prisoner exchange between Israel and Hamas. How did it all go down, Kim? I understand that the hostages have been released.
We know right now that at least 24 hostages have been released. 13 are Israeli, 10 are Thai, 1 Filipino, and that Israel has also released Palestinian prisoners that they were going to release in exchange as part of this deal. So this is, according to the White House, something they're working on by the hour to get Americans included in the first group of 50 hostages. But as of now, we've got a 4-day ceasefire, and the hostage swap is underway.
But again, it'll be 50. It will not be any more than that, right?
It might not be. I mean,
they took over
we'll
200
see.
People. Yeah.
They're working by the hour.
Okay.
And Israel has said that for every 10 hostages released every day after the original swap and the original 4-day ceasefire, that will keep the ceasefire in place. 10 more hostages every day.
Wow.
So we'll see if that happens.
I'm told that Hamas may not even be aware of where some of the hostages are now. Many are dead, is what I'm hearing. And I'm also hearing, and when I say I'm hearing, I mean hearing in reports and from various people who are over in the region, that Hamas has lost track, in effect, of where some of these hostages are. Now, their tunnel system in Gaza is extremely sophisticated. It's been compared to the London Tube system. I mean, imagine that. Billions of dollars that were funneled into Gaza, much of that money, which was earmarked for humanitarian stuff, it didn't make it, sadly, to the humanitarian needs of the Gaza people, and those needs are substantial. It was used by Hamas for armaments and also for this tunnel system, which, as I say, is very sophisticated. Hamas is not popular among the Gazans. I'll just mention this as an aside. But sadly, might makes right in that region. And Hamas is calling the shots right now. Anyway, that's the update on that, and we'll continue to update through the show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
So last night, I'm at a Thanksgiving. You have to know me to know that, in general, I just don't want to go anywhere. I'd like to stay in my house, put on, the Niners are playing. I want to give me some kind of food, a glass of wine, maybe an edible, and a football game, and I don't need to move. You can go do whatever you want. But we had 2 events yesterday, and it was fun. Once I got there, I always have fun once I get there. Just getting there is I don't like to go anywhere I have to dress up. So I don't know why I'm saying all of these things except to say that I was a reluctant, participant in Thanksgiving activities, and then I had a really good time. So we go to the first event, then we go to the second event. It's evening, and the second event is a very high-end restaurant that has a private room, and the hosts have invited us there to, yeah, exactly. Phineas gets it. Stay at home and get baked. Right. I mean, where's my get baked? What's happening in this? Do we have the get baked?
Stay at home and get baked.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we sit down at this beautiful table in this beautiful restaurant, and the gentleman next to me is a true Hollywood insider. Okay. Has amazing stories. All right. And he begins to interact with me. We know some of the same people. I mean, I'm nowhere near. He's a real guy. I want to comment much today. What is this? Hang on a second. This is from Wes. Then I'll continue. I like to stop for super chats. I always say I'll stop for super chats, and so I want to. Wes says, I want to comment much today. I'm off work and a little drunk, but love you all as always. Chat people included. All right. Who knows? Wes might be more active than normal.
I'd be willing to bet my lunch that there's alcohol involved.
Apparently, there is. I think Mark is high now, says Tom. Well, how dare you? That is not true. That is not true. Smash the like button like a boss, though,
with
Tom,
your iron rod.
Yeah. Stay at home, drink beer, watch the Niners, and eat a few banquet TV turkey dinners. Exactly. John gets it. So, Randy says, going to a high-end restaurant for a Thanksgiving evening gathering doesn't sound like much fun. It was fun. Amazing people in this room. You know what I mean? Okay, let me get to it, Phineas. So, where was I, Kim?
The Mark Thompson Show.
Thank you, Albert. Thank you for resetting me. All right.
You just sat down to enjoy a lovely meal.
Everybody is enjoying a very lovely meal. It's a lovely crowd and a very connected crowd in some ways. I felt like the least connected guy in the room. So I'm there. Courtney's across from me, and the guy next to me is a real Hollywood insider. Great stories, and he says to me as we're talking, and he's kind of beginning to share some inside stories. He says this, and I promise no one has had this said to them at a Thanksgiving dinner before. He says, if you want, he said, I won't feel weird about it at all if before we start you want me to sign an NDA. I'm thinking, an NDA at Thanksgiving? Well, what do you think I'm going to say that you would possibly need to have signed an NDA for? I mean, do I look like the guy who's hanging on to some morsel that I'm going to let float and I don't want it to get out past this room? I mean, I'm not spilling the tea here, dude. You're the Hollywood insider, not me. So he opened with that. And then we started talking, and he laid this story on me. It's 1984 at the time, I think. 84, 85, maybe it was. I believe it was 84. You need to know that because the vintage of this story is very, I think, key.
Cocaine and disco?
More like, if you think 84, I don't know if you can tell me, what was happening in 84, what the big shows were, what the big movies were. I don't know. But it was, around then. Old Hollywood is still around.
Google it.
And then you've got that meeting with New Hollywood. And this guy is working for a huge, huge lawyer / agent in Hollywood. Okay. I mean, massive, like maybe the top guy. And this guy's a young guy. The guy's at dinner with me last night. Now he's older, obviously, but he's a young guy working for him. But he's also still pretty connected. So he gets a call from the big guy, and the big guy says, "Where are you?" I think it was pre cell phones and cars, so he must have been at home. He said, "I need you to get here right away. I need you to do something." And he said, "Okay, well, what do you need?" I mean, he says, "Don't ask any questions." And the way he tells the story is the guy's very gruff. He says, "Don't ask any effing questions. Get your effing A over here." So the guy screams across town, gets to the office, and the big guy says, "Go to this address and take care of this situation." And it's on a piece of paper, he's written the address in Beverly Hills. And the guy who was at dinner last night, younger guy, says, "Okay, but who should I ask for?" And the guy goes, "Hey, I told you, don't ask any effing questions. Go to this address and you handle this effing situation." And it was like, okay. And he says, "I want you to take my car. That's why I want you to come to the office." He says, "Well, my car is pretty new. It's only like 6 months old." He said, "Hey, I don't want any effing trouble. You can't take your car. You take my car, the Mercedes." I said, "Okay." So he drives the Mercedes of his boss to this address. He has no idea who he's asking for or what's going on. And his questions, are knocked down. He gets to the large gate. He rings the bell or and he identifies himself, and the gate opens and he pulls up to this house. The door opens at this, palatial place in Beverly Hills. And this woman is there. She's clearly one of the staff. And she says, we're expecting you. Come in. He says that he was told, Mr. is expecting you. So he still doesn't know who it is because she didn't tip who it was. She said, Mr. is expecting you. So she comes in to the foyer, says, Mr. is expecting you, and she's holding a silver tray. And on the tray is a Perrier water and a flat Evian water. And she said, would you like, and he takes the Perrier. She said, Mr. will be with you in a moment. So he's looking around for any sign of who this is. There's nothing. Waiting. And down the hall comes this guy. Bald guy with a beard. Kind of couldn't tell who it was still. And kind of a shorter guy, said. Reaches where he is, waiting, and extends his hand and says, Hi, I'm Francis. And he looks at him and he realizes it's Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra, no toupee, right, at that point, grown this beard out apparently, and they get into the car out front. And the phone rings in the car. It's one of the early car phones, as he was telling the story. I don't remember the evolution of the car phone. He said, but this is one of the early ones. And he said, you're to take Mr. Sinatra to the DMV and get the DMV situation handled for Mr. Sinatra. He needs a new license. Now, the reason he needs a new license is because he was pulled over, apparently, for other stuff. And the cops drove him home and said, I'll only write you up for not having a license. And go get this license taken care of. And apparently it had to be taken care of right away. It was like a building legal situation, potentially. So they go to the DMV where this guy, they're all mobbed up at the DMV. They go into a private room. And the exam person is there showing, you're going to have to take an exam, and I'll let this guy, pointing to the guy who's telling me the story, I'll let him stay with you in the room, but no cheating, is what the woman says. And apparently Sinatra grabs the woman's hand, kisses it, and says, I would never do that. And she leaves the room. And then he shoves the paper over to the other guy. Sinatra shoves the paper and goes, go for it. Let's get this done. All right. So the other guy takes the exam for Sinatra. Then she comes back into the room and does the evaluation of how they've done. And they've missed 3 questions. She said, you're lucky. If you had missed a 4th question, I couldn't pass you. I couldn't give you the license. You only missed 3. And Sinatra says, I didn't miss any. He missed the 3. Oh. And Sinatra was given the license, driven home, and that, to me, is how Sinatra got out of the jam, and a great story of how stuff gets done sometimes, backdoor in Hollywood. And this guy who did that is going to be on our show in the next couple of weeks with other stories like that. Yeah, he is someone who's been written about. He is someone who's been talked about, and he has a robust business. He represented Johnny Carson, represented a bunch of other kind of classic Hollywood television and film people. And so I'm really looking forward to having him on the show. But he was right next to me at dinner last night, and it was the greatest thing. He just had, I mean, that story alone was worth the price of admission. You know what I mean?
I've decided that your Thanksgiving is much more interesting than my Thanksgiving. And next year, I'm going with you.
I was blown away. The guy next to him is the guy who runs all of Dolly Parton's business. Like she has a whole, Dolly Parton's an industry, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he runs that. So it's quite
Dolly Enterprises, yes.
Quite the room.
Well, now she's got not only Dollyland, she's got this massive hotel they just opened. Did you hear about that? I mean, it's enormous, and it's.
Where is it?
It's right near Dollywood.
Oh, that's cool.
It's kind of like you can stay at the Disneyland Hotel. Well, now you can stay at the Heart. I think it's called Heart Song Hotel.
Oh,
yeah.
She also made an appearance yesterday at during the Cowboys game, and literally Tony Romo, everyone on Twitter or X, everyone was going crazy over her appearance.
She looked great.
Yeah.
I mean, she's really great. She's 77, I think, and she's wearing like hot pants or something, wasn't she, Albert?
She was in a Dallas Cowboys cheerleading outfit. And
there's never been anything like this.
I thought it was. Yeah, I only saw the still picture because sadly they didn't have the ball game on where I was. But
yeah, I won't play the video, but I will just show this screen grab, and that's it. Yeah,
I mean, she looks amazing, right?
Yeah, she looks really pretty.
What did she used to say? Hey, it takes a lot of money to look this cheap. It's a great quote from her. All right, that is a little bit of my Thanksgiving. Poor Kim has a child who is sick.
COVID-y.
Right?
Yeah, she tested negative the day before Thanksgiving, and then on Thanksgiving morning, she tested positive again. I don't even know how it's possible, but she had to spend Thanksgiving in her room. We FaceTimed her at the Thanksgiving dinner table. So I have one more picture of Dolly to show you.
That's not fake.
You ready?
That's real.
Yeah.
Look how good.
At Dolly.
77 years old, and she rocks the cheerleading outfit.
She looks so good. I mean, it really is. And she's wearing a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader outfit, and they did very well last night, didn't they, Kamish? They rocked.
Unfortunately, yes. There's a three-way tie for second place in the NFC, including the Niners, Cowboys, and the Lions, who lost yesterday.
The Lions look vulnerable. Cowboys, although the first Cowboys-Niners game was a blowout from the Niners. The Niners blew them out.
Yeah, so we had the tiebreaker there, but it's nice to see all the nice uniform matchups on TV, like the Packers and the Lions. It's like part of a Thanksgiving tradition.
Yeah, I agree.
Except for those Seahawks uniforms, those are god awful. Oh my gosh.
I don't know. They should have had a longer meeting about that. I don't know how those Seahawk uniforms got past any kind of decent meeting.
No.
Exactly. No. All right, Kim's news next. Much going on. Then we've got Friday Fabulous Florida. John Daly will join.
Smash it with your iron rod.
Smash it with your iron rod. We've got it's a holiday show. We're covering things, but it's sort of people who swim through for the holiday. It's kind of fun, We have a few more people in the live audience who might not be here normally, and a lot fewer people for the live audience because people are out doing other things, Black Friday and all of that stuff. So smash it with your iron rod, and Friday Fabulous Florida next. Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
On the Mark Thompson Show, I'm Kim McAllister. This report is sponsored by Tenuta Vineyards in Livermore. Officials from Qatar and the Red Cross say Hamas has released 24 hostages and Israel has released a group of Palestinian prisoners, all part of a temporary ceasefire deal. No Americans were among the freed hostages so far, but the White House says it is working by the hour to get Americans to be included among the first 50 hostages. If you are Expected to fly anywhere on Sunday, you will likely be part of an all-time record. The TSA predicts, not the kind you were hoping for either. The TSA predicts nearly 3 million people will pass through U.S. airports Sunday to get a single-day record. The current record, well, they're not trying to get it.
What?
They're just getting it. Yeah. The current record was set June 30th of this year during an extended 4th of July weekend, but the Sunday after Thanksgiving, it's going to be a big travel day.
There's never been anything like this.
Yeah.
We know the identities of the two people who were killed in that fiery crash Mark mentioned at the U.S.-Canada border checkpoint right near Niagara Falls. The Niagara Falls Police Department identified the two as husband and wife, Kurt and Monica Villani, both aged 53. Wednesday's crash and vehicle explosion set off fears of terrorism, but federal investigators indicated this incident was not an attempted terrorist attack. Nearly half of Americans don't know who House Speaker Mike Johnson even is. That's according to a recent NBC News poll. It found 43% of voters said they don't know Johnson or recognize the newly elected speaker's name. The Louisiana Republican won a contentious speaker's election last month following the ouster of California Congressman Kevin McCarthy. Meanwhile, 14% of voters said they viewed Johnson positively. 23% had a negative view of him. An overheating issue with a Jeep Wrangler plug-in hybrid vehicle has led to a recall by automaker Stellantis. Approximately 44,000 Jeep Wrangler 4xe models are affected, and the automaker says they have been notified of 6 fires so far. All the vehicles were in park, turned off, and connected to chargers when these fires were reported. Officials say 2021 to 2024 models are part of the recall, with more than 32,000 of them in the United States. By the way, that Wrangler 4xe, it was the best-selling hybrid vehicle in the U.S. in the third quarter of the year.
I think it's a good-looking car, actually.
Yeah. A lot of people may have those plugged in as we speak. Wait a minute. Unplug. Take it in. X will start showing headlines again. I know, you really cared. According to Elon Musk, headlines and preview cards accompanied by web address links are returning. Musk had removed the features from the platform last month. Seems very indecisive.
He's, I don't know. I'm afraid the jury has come and gone on him. He's not a good guy.
Nutty nut nut. Here's my contribution to the football discussion today. The NFL will have its first ever game on Black Friday when the New York Jets host the Miami Dolphins at MetLife Stadium. There you go. Well, football for you today. And I don't know, this seems weird. Veteran signal caller Tim Boyle will be the Jets' new starting quarterback.
Yeah, well, they're having problems. They couldn't get Zach Wilson to, right, Kamish? He holds onto the ball too long. You can't hold the ball that long.
Is that kind of like when you...
he's not a great quarterback. Tim Boyle also backed up Aaron Rodgers for years on the Packers, so it makes a lot of sense.
Oh, okay, so that's a good thing. I was thinking it's kind of like when I have to fill in for Mark, like, there's just nobody else. But, all right. New York is third in the AFC East at 4-6. Dolphins have won 2 of their last 3 games. They sit atop the division with a record of 7-3. So that's your Black Friday football update. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services is reminding everyone Thanksgiving leftovers are safe for up to 4 days after the Turkey Day celebration if properly refrigerated. 4 days, that's all you got. Eat up. The agency says never leave food out for more than a couple of hours, and if you can't finish everything in 4 days, you can freeze leftovers for up to 6 months. So
I'm Megan McCain, co-host of The View.
Yeah, she uses the 4 day. It doesn't matter who you are. It's still only 4 days, Megan.
Movie analysts are now predicting The Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes will remain atop the box office for the second straight week. I don't know. The Hunger Games prequel is projected to bring in about $42 million. Disney's Wish was originally picked to be the champion for the holiday weekend. It's now expected to fall at least $10 million short of its original $50 million weekend forecast. I wouldn't count Wish out so fast.
Yeah. My God. I don't know who to root for there because I really don't care.
Really?
I mean, it's interesting to hear it, but I'm not like rooting for one or the other.
Oh. Well, I would think a lot of people have their kids out of school and they'd go for the Disney movie, but maybe the kids are older and maybe they want to go ahead and, go see The Hunger Games. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either when you put it like that.
I don't know. But since you don't care, let's move on. This report...
Well, I didn't mean to say that the story... I said I liked hearing it. Well, I didn't mean to say the story wasn't important.
It's fine.
I didn't know who to root for in the story. That was the problem.
Kim, how are you?
Yeah. My God.
This report is sponsored by Tenuta Vineyards. All you have to do is say, smash it with your iron rod.
Smash it with your iron rod.
When you call Rich at 925-699-4576, and you get 10% off the whole thing. Cases of wine, a single bottle of wine, an event that you're doing, whatever it is, 10% off because you're a Mark Thompson Show listener at Tenuta Vineyards in Livermore. And I'll tell you, it's beautiful there. They're kind and friendly and nice, and the wine is really good.
That's what I care about.
That's right. Make sure you try the Mark Thompson. Hey, which one of you is Mark Thompson Pinot Grigio? I'll get it right. But my favorite
which
is...
one do you use, Mark Thompson?
You talk about wine like a sommelier, I'm telling you.
Why are you
Make
yelling
sure you try
red?
the Mark Thompson, which one of you is...
Why are you yelling?
All right.
Clearly, I've had too much wine already. I'm Kim McAllister. This is The Mark Thompson Show.
They had to close down an entire radio station to silence him. And now, he's here. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Thompson. Feel it in your soul. The Mark Thompson Show.
Who's Mark Thompson?
Hey, which one do you use, Mark Thompson?
Sayonara, sucker!
100% effective. How about that? There is no defense for my conduct.
And this is their new hoax.
Joe Fish, Sal the Shoemaker, Joe Box, and Little Anthony.
Mo Black's brother, Fat Andy.
Smash it with your iron rod.
It's fantastic.
Seriously, what the...
What up, everybody? The day after Thanksgiving. I know. I can't believe it either. We've survived it. We're excited that you're here. And however you get here, whether you're listening in replay or watching live, it's always great to have you in the mix. Smash the like button if you would. Helps us in the little YouTube world of
with your iron rod.
algorithms and such. I do want to recognize the gentleman who comes in on Fridays, and he joins us for Friday Fabulous Florida. You know him as the former producer of this show during a brief hiatus that Albert was having. He's fabulous producer
John Daly.
Yeah, fabulous producer John Daly, exactly.
Hello. A brief hiatus. That was like a year and...
Yeah, let's not challenge the, Jesus, man. I can't.
You know, they do this to me all the time. I don't know what the hell
introduce
they do
the
it
guy
for.
with a brief hiatus. I don't know about that, Mark. It was over a year.
Did you receive the NDA I signed?
Oh, my God.
I just signed it this morning.
You can find John hosting a show with Kim called The After Party Live.
We'll do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
The first 10 minutes of that show typically is dedicated to making fun of me or something I've said.
It's animals.
Or some problem that I've had with the show.
No.
That's
We're
how
like
they
family.
So if you want to pile on, you can go to that show.
Oh, no, we only tease those that we love.
What is the latest in the Daly household? Did you do anything for Thanksgiving, John Daly?
Well, I've gained 2 pounds. I weigh myself every morning because I've been on this diet. And, I realized, you know what? That's normal. Ate half of a turkey. It's okay. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're allowed a little wiggle room during this week.
And some sweatpants. It's cool.
Yeah. This is a very tough period during which one is starting a diet.
I'm continuing a diet. But I don't want to throw it all away,
Okay.
One thing you mentioned Elon Musk and how he's killed Twitter, right? It's not just he's killed it. It's a wanton killing or a wonton killing.
Oh, yeah. You think it's...
What do you say?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know what a
Envy wonton killing. I don't know what a wonton killing is. I'm going to have to look that one up.
God, She is another level of.
Maybe they could meet. She could have a show. On
I mean,
Twitter.
he's brilliant,
X.
but evil. She's a moron and evil. So
Yeah, I think he gets a lot of credit for things he hasn't actually done.
Thank you.
Like, if you watch enough interviews, you're like, oh, he's just smart enough to take credit for everything everyone at all his companies.
He's like a Vivek Ramaswamy, but with a different kind of techie, a little less peacocky posturing.
He's on the spectrum too, yeah.
Right. It would be, but he's got, he's made of the same stuff that Vivek is made of.
Yeah.
All right, Albert. Without any further delay, we will.
Albert, thank you.
Begin a segment that we look forward to every Friday. We feature news from a state that always serves up the interesting, sometimes bizarre, sometimes gross, sometimes disturbing, but it's always something in Friday Fabulous Florida.
It's time for Friday Fabulous Florida.
There is a gigantic alligator in my kitchen.
A look at the weirdest stories from our weirdest state.
A dude has been arrested. He's behind bars. He hurled a package of Oreo cookies at his wife during an argument. They were arguing about the coffee maker not having any water in it. John Sandoval, 70, had enough. He was arrested and charged with felony domestic battery on a person 65 years or older. You remember in Florida, that really does get you a longer term. There he is. If you're watching on YouTube, he doesn't look bad. He doesn't look...
He looks like one of those mobster criminals from the old-timey movies. Hey, boss. Hey,
he does have a mobster quality to
Joe Box and Little Anthony.
He might be able to pass for Black... who is...
Joe Fish, Sal the Shoemaker, Joe Box and Little Anthony.
Mo Black's brother, Fat Andy.
That's who I was thinking of.
If he just
Fat
squints
Andy.
his eyes a little, he'll be perfect.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the story, okay? So he's 70, and he's angry because... she didn't put any water in the coffee maker. I mean,
does he not have hands? Can he not put the water in the coffee maker?
Well, you know what,
himself?
Kim? Maybe it's her job to put water in the coffee maker.
No,
How dare
no.
you automatically take her side?
Yes.
Sandoval's wife, who he's been married to and cohabiting with for over 40 years. I mean, it's 40 years of irritation of her not putting the water in the coffee
They do
maker.
this to me all the time. I don't know what the hell they do it for.
Let's hope he's still in jail so she can get a break. Jesus.
They've been doing it for 40 years to me. The coffee maker not having any water in it started as a verbal argument.
Of course.
And then Sandoval became aggressive. And then he did the unthinkable. He chucked a package of Oreo cookies at his wife, and it hit her in the chest.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. She was knocked to the ground by the Oreo cookies, Kim. Yeah.
That sounds like the beginning of like a
package is pretty
90s
heavy.
baseball movie. He got a contract right after that.
Were these the double stuff? Like they've got some weight to them?
He must have either thrown heat or there's more to the Oreos than we think. Right. While she was on the ground, though, and because it's not over, allegedly, he put his hands on her throat.
Oh, no.
That escalated.
Didn't restrict her airway, she was quick to say. The incident wasn't reported until the next day after the woman's daughter urged her mother to press charges. There were not any obvious injuries observed by deputies. They caught up with Sandoval, admitted he did to picking up a package of cookies and throwing them at her. And he said he believed he hit her in the head, but he wasn't sure. And he has no recollection of grabbing her throat. He is in the Lake County Jail.
Excellent.
So, yeah, it's not.
If that happened
here is a situation.
If that happened in
like a great-
California, it wouldn't be a felony because a police officer has to witness it. I was attacked as a bartender, and they said if you're not messed up, it won't be a felony unless a police officer witnesses it.
Wow, that is interesting.
Yeah.
Man,
They don't mess around in Florida. You throw
I
those
guess
Oreos.
not. Yeah, and that's
Fabulous producer, John Daly.
Yeah, a Florida man is arrested in a road rage incident. It began with a tossed cup of coffee at Chick-fil-A. The incident began at this Chick-fil-A on Palm Coast Parkway. Oh, that's one of your favorite stops, John.
Yeah.
Imagine. it being smeared like this. The suspect is a 36-year-old Donovan Matthews of Palm Coast. Albert will show him to you now for you YouTube viewers.
Albert, thank you.
Yeah. He got into an argument with a man and a woman. One of the people involved in the conflict threw a cup of coffee at Matthews before leaving the business. Apparently, Matthews then followed the man and the woman in his car before he struck their vehicle with his car.
Oh.
Wow. After that collision, both parties left their vehicles near the intersection of Deandra and Palm Coast Parkway. Matthews then continued the argument before attempting to strike the woman in the face. The man was on the receiving end of that strike as he moved to defend the woman before he and Matthews wound up on the ground. Matthews repeatedly hitting him.
That's some butt cheeks hanging out there.
We have pictures of this altercation. You can see them if you, those listening on podcast, you may want to go to YouTube to see the actual pictures. Matthews is being charged with multiple felonies, including aggravated battery and assault. It's hard, I know, when somebody throws coffee to leave it alone, but, you know,
at least
tracking
there was
them down
water in the coffee machine.
Yeah, I mean, it is coffee themed, Albert. Very well done.
Albert, thank you.
Yeah. How did you do that?
And Fox 35
Coachella
Orlando
Valley
never
coffee,
disappoints.
everyone. Coachella Valley.
Well, you wouldn't be throwing it out though if it was Coachella.
Yeah, you wouldn't be throwing out that coffee. It was Coachella. Very good. A wanted Florida woman lost a game of hide and seek Tuesday night. Deputies captured her hiding inside a couch. What? Stacy Usher is her name. She's 39. She'd been evading authorities in Citrus County since early November.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, she's done well.
Yeah.
Apparently, she violated her probation for the sale of, anyone?
Meth?
Methamphetamines.
That is what I would have guessed. Fentanyl was the word we were looking for.
Okay.
Meth is so like last decade.
Yeah, I guess. Again, I would have guessed similarly meth, probably. Fentanyl, and officials sharing a photo of the deputy who was on the case pulling, and you can see this right now. If this looks, let me tell you what's happening here. She's being pulled out of a couch. She's inside her couch where she was hiding underneath the cushions.
God, how does she even fit like that?
It's really impressive.
Face.
I mean,
maybe she hollowed it out.
It
Well,
looks
she
like she's
isn't. Her
wedged
last name is
in.
Usher, right? She knows how to find a seat. Right this way.
Wow.
Right this way.
Pretty amazing. I got to give her credit, but they did catch her, and so now she has to face the man. A Florida man's leap into a canal leaves the deputies who were chasing him
Alligators.
wondering what he was doing. This guy, Philip McGraw, swam through multiple canals in an effort to avoid arrest.
Dr. Phil?
Dr. Phil is
Phil McGraw?
But that doesn't mean that it's a good thing.
He is, isn't he Phil McGraw?
Yeah, he's Phil McGraw.
He literally is.
This is a man with anger. This is a man that has resentment towards you.
Wow, but this is not the same Dr. Phil.
I don't think you should
Okay,
apologize.
Maybe it is.
but it's not the same. All right. Are we out of Phil? Are we out of Dr. Phil drops now, or do I have to wait for more of them?
That's not Dr. Phil. What a disappointment.
It would be even better if it were Dr. Phil, but it's not. This guy swam through multiple canals trying to evade the cops, allegedly punching his neighbor in the face during an argument. Phil McGraw, as he's called, because that's his name, entered his neighbor's garage Sunday afternoon, approached the neighbor aggressively, then punched the neighbor in the face. Both men were on the street when McGraw's stepfather, James Jones, pulled up to the house. McGraw then gets into the passenger seat of Jones's vehicle, and they speed away. I mean...
Ooh, it's a wild idea, but it just might work.
Well, deputies tried to initiate a traffic stop on the vehicle, but Jones kept on screaming along. Jones then drove to McGraw's home and McGraw fled on foot toward the canal behind the residence, and that's when things got really interesting. At some point, he jumped into a canal to avoid arrest. And they say, after swimming through multiple canals in an attempt to escape, McGraw was caught and arrested behind a residence on Crandall Court, which is...
But that doesn't mean that it's a good thing.
Oddly, Court is where he'll end up also.
And it looks like they have a
take him out.
Seahawks license plate there.
Oh, I can't tell. Is that
the
correct?
highlighter yellow? No, the highlighter yellow.
That looks like the
Yeah,
sheriff's
right.
vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah, they've gone with the Seattle Seahawk yellow,
Right.
but it's, of course,
Strong
in Florida.
choice.
Do you think the cops think, oh yeah, we got him. He's swimming. He's gonna get tired. Like, let's give it an extra 15 minutes.
Throw in an alligator.
I was thinking
Go ahead.
They should have, like, instead of a canine unit, just a little alligator.
alligator unit.
Yeah, well, again, someone's asking in the chat, Karen's asking, no alligators? Gator, Vicky asks. Aren't there gators in there, says Ricky. The answer is there are gators typically, but I think this time of year, as we detailed in a story last week.
The water's colder?
Yeah, the water's colder. They're kind of not as active. So...
Now's the time to go swimming in Florida?
This is the time to go?
Yeah, I think
one of the deputies is actually heard on the...
we just know way too much about Florida at this point,
Yeah.
you know?
During the arrest, one deputy is heard reminding McGraw of a similar encounter with him just a couple of weeks prior. He said, hey, man, 2 or 3 weeks ago, you ran from us then. Same 2 people into your house when you had the warrant. McGraw was charged with burglary, and he's being held on $32,500 bond. So,
that's a specific number.
Yeah, it is. I can come up with the 32,000, but the 500, I can't. I gotta go pee, a woman says, as she pulls her pants down in the aisle during a Florida flight.
Oh,
What the hell is going on in the United States of America?
I'm telling you, this
Man,
woman...
this is not a Walmart.
No, exactly. There are places for this. They're called Walmart, Costco.
Not Costco. No
Doesn't
way.
this happen at Costco?
No.
You have to have membership to go there, Mark.
I
Very
see.
exclusive.
So
A
you're...
little more highfalutin.
Okay. A woman riding on a Frontier Airlines flight flashed her fellow passengers on Monday, pulled her pants down mid-flight. She was reportedly one of several passengers headed to Philadelphia from Florida.
Mm-hmm.
The woman indicated that she intended to relieve herself in the aisle after reportedly being told that she couldn't use the bathroom.
Ooh, it's a wild idea, but it just might work.
Other passengers on the flight can be heard shouting at her, one saying that there were children on board. Get a hold of yourself. She was seen pulling her pants back up before yelling, I don't give an F. No S, F you. I gotta go pee. She eventually walked away and confronted a flight attendant. Meanwhile, another passenger on the flight can be heard saying, that poor little boy, referring to the young boy in the seat next to the woman. She confronted several of the other passengers aboard the flight.
That's real.
Yeah, she was screaming and cursing. Essentially, she
My bad.
made a big,
I'm sorry.
Made a big.
Everybody.
Made,
Are you serious?
oh yeah. Yeah, that's what it sounded like. An
There
upset.
was quite an outcry over that.
Yeah, they were scrambling. She is standing in the aisle, dropping her pants for real. You know.
I like Wes's comment. She thought she was on Bart.
Yeah.
I thought. By the way, maybe the way to handle it is to let the woman use the bathroom. I mean, did that ever occur? I mean, I get it. Like, oh, everybody's got to be in their seat right now. Sometimes people have to go. I mean, I don't mean to take her. What she did is completely unacceptable. I don't mean to take her side, but I just feel as though, come on, guys. Sometimes this, they handle these airline flights like they're, like they're prisons. I mean,
well,
hey,
Frontier is catering to a certain crowd, so they don't exactly do a background check.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
I will say,
spirit.
what kind of genius doesn't pee before you get on the plane? Really?
Yeah, but use
the
again, I don't mean
restroom ahead of time.
The kind that flies Frontier.
All right. I mean,
I guess.
I know. I'm just saying, Kim, that sometimes you're waiting on the tarmac a long time. It does happen, Kim. I don't mean to speak, again
Mark, have
on
you
her.
peed on a plane before? Coming to her
Oh.
defense awfully quick. Kim, we've all been there.
Yeah, I don't know.
How would you handle this? We
Just
could
like
try
flaw,
ignoring it,
you're on the
sir.
A
tarmac.
76-year-old Florida man was arrested after he allegedly backed over a staff member at a car show deliberately for not letting him into the event. Anthony Guerrera Jr., who lives in the Villages. Yeah, baby.
Yes. Love
Where
the
the
Villages.
seniors go to misbehave. Yeah.
There's a reason that this place is fun.
That's
Telling
right.
you, the Villages is awesome.
The Villages does a lot of damage when they're not there on the weekends just hanging out. And apparently he's getting charged with aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. That's the car, of course. After this thing happened in the Lady Lake area on a Saturday afternoon.
Grandpa, you can't hit people with the car. You just can't do it.
While trying to enter the car show event, a staff member approached Guerrera and told him to leave because of his aggressive behavior. Guerrera reportedly threw a piece of paper out of his car window toward another staff member before looking at the man who told him to leave and reversing his car right into him. Apparently, according to the guy who was hit, the dude did it purposely and maliciously. This is a quote, operated the vehicle in such a way to cause bodily harm because of being upset about being kicked out. The man who was hit was transported to a local hospital for a medical evaluation. Condition not made immediately available, Kim.
He
Maybe
probably
you can-
took one of those man-boosting pills that he bought off the other guy at the Villages.
You're right. There's a lot
What
of...
was it? It was called like Supercharge or something like that.
A lot of fake testosterone running through
turbo,
the seniors
yeah.
at the Villages. A Florida man who's irate whacks another man with a leaf blower. Yes. I know. It happens. I mean,
Ooh, it's a wild idea, but it just might work.
This is your Mad Libs.
Sometimes
Your
you
Mad
get... It does feel very Mad Libs. You got to grab what's close by, guys, when you want to whack somebody else, and sometimes it's a leaf blower. A Florida man has found himself behind bars. He allegedly, again, hasn't been found guilty yet, whacked another guy with a leaf blower after a fender bender. Patrick Eitzen, 60, here he is, arrested, charged with burglary and battery and criminal mischief. It happened on Hibiscus Drive in Leesburg.
That's too bad. It sounds like a nice place.
Yeah.
He
All the
looks like he
places
could
in
be a
Florida
mobster.
sound nice.
Doesn't he look like he could be up for a mobster role?
Oh, he totally looks like a
his
mobster.
disposition,
I mean,
his
Mo Black's
mouth.
brother, Fat Andy.
he does look like Mo Black's brother, Fat
You
Andy.
hit the wrong guy's
He's
car.
the enforcer.
Let me tell you something, my friend. You're going to be sorry.
Yeah.
The deal is that there was a car crash. One of the people involved was
Allegedly.
struck with this leaf blower. The guy who was struck said that he was trying to operate his GPS while driving. That caused his work truck to hit a trailer. So the guy you're seeing right now is, it looks like he's capable of mischief, says Jim. The guy you're seeing was the guy who was hit. Okay, he's hit by this other guy.
His trailer.
But he didn't take it well. And this whole thing kind of started a chain of events. It caused his work truck to hit a trailer, again, because the guy was looking at GPS. That trailer then collided with another vehicle, and that's when this dude, who you're seeing, ran out of the house because his car was parked and hit by the other vehicle, and he was armed with a leaf blower. He was irate, bashed the leaf blower into the hood of the man's truck. The guy who was driving the truck opened the door, but Eitzen met him at the driver's side door, and he tried to tell Eitzen to calm down, that he was sorry, but he was socked with a leaf blower instead. A witness said that she saw Eitzen climb into the truck's cab, or try to. The man was inside, and he's striking him in the face, the witness said. The woman said that she told him to back away, but he did not heed her commands and kept pounding on the guy until the cops arrived. He's now being held on $26,000 bond.
He doesn't like his crimes to be interrupted. He's like,
yeah,
I was taking care of a thing.
Can't you see I'm doing something right now?
John says, blower? Never bring a rake to a leaf blower fight.
Well done. Well done. A Florida woman had 2 outstanding arrest warrants, and finally she's busted. The reason she was busted, though, is what makes this story measure up to what the commish, Albert, would curate as stories that are important in Florida. She has the 2 outstanding arrest warrants, and she still calls the cops to complain that someone stole her. It's a drug.
Weed?
Weed is right. John Daly, yes.
There should be
Where
prizes.
Are weed smokers at? Yeah, if it was meth, you just make more.
Yeah. When you want your weed, you do want it. And Lily Rinker wanted her weed. She made the complaint at 2 a.m. She called the cops.
That's about right.
Yeah. And there she is.
Lily.
Sweet Lily Rinker. She looks so cute. Yeah.
That's not fake. That's real.
She wanted to stay at home and get baked.
Yeah, she told the arriving officer that a man named Carlos, whom she'd only recently met, left her hotel room after taking a half a gram of pot from her. Now, half a gram of pot is $5 to $10 worth, apparently. She said she didn't know what to do, so she decided to call the cops. Police then discovered that she, the woman you're seeing in this beautiful booking photo, and she does look lovely, she's cute, she has outstanding arrest warrants in Palm Beach County. So she's been arrested, and she was arrested last year for striking her father in the face. And she is being arrested again. And it's sad because I think she's kind of cute, Albert.
I really sucker.
Yeah, she wouldn't be a mobster. She'd be like the vixen.
Yeah.
I need your help.
Deep and angry lurks within that innocent face.
Well, she's got some issues, Kim. It's true. She struck her father, and she got convicted of a DUI earlier this year. So she's got some baggage, maybe you'd call it. But she has these full-on, I think they're like Tinder-like pics. Don't you think?
You do
Albert,
like them a little crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you're getting with her.
Yeah, you get a little crazy. But remember, as I've told you before, you want a little crazy because a little crazy is hot. But too much crazy, it can off you. You got to be very careful, you know. Here is what I'm talking about, YouTube viewers. See, she's cute. There's one other shot of her, and she looks cute. So she's got a cute thing. If she could only turn that cuteness into goodness and niceness.
No. She looks great in the orange already. Look at that.
She just wants to get stoned, go to Taco Bell.
Yeah. I mean, it really is. Don't call the cops at 2 a.m. because somebody stole your stash. I mean, just don't do it. All right. We don't like to do this, but we must. The bylaws of our program require us to pick a favorite. Let me remind you of the favorites, and I don't know if Albert has a poll going. Do you have a poll going, sir?
I do. With man throws Oreo and coffee, I combine those 2 stories.
Okay.
Woman had to go on plane, leaf blower attack, and don't steal her weed. Those are your options.
Those are your options in the chat to vote.
Albert, thank you.
And if you are watching in replay or listening, please register your choice. We do pay attention to your choices after hours, in after hours commenting. Again, I'll remind you, Florida man who hurls the Oreos at his wife during an argument over the empty coffee maker. The Florida man arrested in a road rage fit that began with a tossed cup of coffee at Chick-fil-A. The Florida woman who was wanted is on probation for selling fentanyl, found hiding inside her couch.
That's a pretty good one.
Florida man's leap into the canal leaves pursuing deputies asking in body cam video, what the hell is he doing? The I gotta go pee lady during that Florida flight on Frontier Airlines where she drops her pants down in the aisle yelling, I gotta go pee, and a lot of F-bombs and S-bombs. A Florida man upset that he wasn't let into the car show, backing over the guy who said he can't go in. By the way, he was bounced from the car show for being too aggressive. And then the Florida man who was angry that his car had been hit in that car wreck, who jumps out of his house carrying a leaf blower, runs to the truck that had initiated the accident, and starts beating the crap out of the guy with the leaf blower in hand. And finally, of course, that cute Florida woman who at 2 a.m. called the cops because part of her stash had been ripped off by a guy, quote, named Carlos. That is your group. What is your favorite? I will start with you, John Daly.
Fabulous producer, John Daly.
This is tough. I like peeing in the aisle, but I think I have to go with Couch Usher.
Couch Usher, very, very strong, John.
Very Florida, very
strong.
original.
Albert, let's ask you. What's your favorite? You curate this segment every week. What do you like this week?
The plane is great and it's leading the vote, but a special legacy vote for me today for anything that happens through the villages. So just a body of work award goes to into
like a lifetime achievement.
Yeah, exactly. So
So the guy from the villages who
who backed his car into the worker.
Yes, okay, that's very good. Couch all the way says there's a lot of love for the couch from Denise from Square. Leaf blower from Chickasaw. Vicky says Carlos is bad news. Kim, what's your favorite?
How are you?
What's your favorite?
I have to pick the pee on a plane. I mean, come on, how tacky can you be peeing on a plane?
Yeah, that's pretty over the top. I agree with you. It's pretty tough to walk that back. You know, sometimes you see these people who lose it. And you go, well, maybe they could apologize their way out of this. There's just no way to walk that back. You know, you were capable of dropping your pants and screaming F and S at a whole cabin full of people. I mean, that's just pretty crazy. So I hear you on that. But this is hard, I think, this week. I am going to go with I'm going with the lady who, for me, it's between the couch and the coffee maker incident.
Really?
It's like a photo finish. I guess I'll go with the couch. All right.
Yeah.
Lady with outstanding warrants hiding on the couch. That's very, very strong. Yeah. As I say, and what was leading the vote, Albert?
The woman who had to go on the plane. She kind of ran away with it.
Oh, okay.
40%.
40%. That's Friday Fabulous Florida for today.
This has been Friday Fabulous Florida.
There is a gigantic alligator in my kitchen.
Y'all come back now here.
Your next chance to see and hear fabulous producer John Daly will be on the After Party Live, where they will make fun of me for the first few minutes. And then they do all kinds of fun stories and
Hey, which one do you use,
stories.
Mark Thompson?
It's
Actually,
very
we only
offbeat.
mention Mark to see if he actually watches the show.
I
So
watch
if
it
he
every day.
mentions it-
I usually
if he mentions
today
it,
today I'll watch the beginning. I can watch the beginning.
Yeah.
But
Kim didn't want to mention Mark, but
I
I'm
watch
like,
it
no.
I watch it in replay. I watch it in
Mark
replay.
would love to be mentioned, right?
Oh,
I mean,
any
without
publicity
Mark,
is good
there would
publicity.
be no after party. There would be nothing to be after.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Fabulous producer John Daly,
Fabulous
everybody.
producer John Daly.
Thank you, John.
See ya.
Bye-bye, John. Bye-bye.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Where are we on this show, Albert? Do we have... I thought we're going to have... well, first of all, I want a big shout-out to go to Doug, who's a big supporter.
Big shout-out.
Doug, thanks for the super sticker for a 10 spot. Appreciate it. As a crowd-funded show, I humbly thank you and thank all of our supporters this Thanksgiving season.
We have another big one here.
Wow, this is unreal. This is, I believe, major announcement category.
A major announcement from the Mark Thompson Show. A major announcement.
Kim C. says, sipping my Coachella Valley coffee while enjoying the Mark Thompson Show. Mark, Kim, Albert, Tony, and all your regular guests are a true blessing. Happy holidays. and it's $100. Come on. That is
generous.
unreal. I'm
Really kind and generous.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
I'm almost moved
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
to tears. I'm on the verge of tears a lot of the time, and this is the kind of thing. Kim C., I think I love you.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And also thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Very cool. All of you who support at any level, from time to time, all the time, means so much to us, and it keeps the lights on, so thank you. Kim C.
Did we get this one?
Is it Chico Eric?
Yeah.
Chico Shar and I are very thankful for the show. Isn't that nice? And a big shout
Big
out.
shout out.
How about a 10 spot for Chico Eric?
Yeah.
And Chico Shar. Chico Shar, thank you so.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wes, we did get earlier, so yeah, but I always love my Wes.
Big
Thank
shout
you.
out.
We're grateful you're here today, Mark, Kim, and Albert. Thank you. That's very, very nice. I'll tell you what I'm surprised by today is that just want to let Mark T and team know and everyone in the chat know that my day wouldn't be complete without you and your show. Oh, that's so cool. Gayla is a true star. I follow her on Instagram. She's like a mega workout and strength person. I mean, it's like another level, though. I mean, I've just not even done it justice by describing it that way. She pushes her body to places that are, really test endurance and strength. She's really amazing. It's quite extraordinary. So I would say
there's never been anything like this.
Yes, I would say there's never anything like it. That's a Gator-sized donation for right. Yeah. Square is right. That $9.99 is big. Thank you, guys, in all the ways. Now, with all of that, I have to ask a question, Albert.
The Mark Thompson Show.
My question's related to, typically we'd have Avila and Shore right now. Where are they?
Yeah, so I think we should just break to some news. I think Jim Avila will be hopping on soon. I just sent them texts. So
Michael Shore is not able to join us today.
Oh, okay. Maybe we'll run a little of the video. He just did another video for TYT from a Trump rally, and it's kind of wild. Michael Snyder, the Culture Blaster, is coming, and okay, so we'll do Kim's news, a little news capsule, then we'll do a little mini Avila thing. Is that what you're thinking then, Albert?
Yeah, so a quick news here, and then we'll give him some time to hop on. But he just responded to me, so he'll be here any minute now.
All right, cool. Smash the like button like a boss as we continue. Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
On the Mark Thompson Show, I'm Kim McAllister, and this report is sponsored by Coachella Valley Coffee. Delicious. So good. All right, let's talk about President Biden saying that he now expects dozens of hostages held by Hamas to be released in the coming days. The president addressing reporters from Nantucket after 24 hostages were released today as part of a temporary ceasefire deal. President Biden said it's unclear when the first American hostages will be released, but he said he expects that to occur over the next several days as well. Palestinian prisoners, though, have been released as part of this temporary ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas. Qatari and Israeli officials confirm a group of 39 prisoners that did include women and teenage boys have been released from 3 prisons. This came after the Red Cross and Qatari officials said 24 hostages, including 13 Israelis, 10 Thais, and 1 Filipino, had been released by Hamas. Travelers should anticipate packed airports this weekend. The TSA says nearly 3 million people are expected to fly home on Sunday. It would be the most passengers to pass through the nation's airports in a single day. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo being hit with a sexual assault lawsuit. TMZ reporting the lawsuit was filed by his former executive assistant, Brittany Camiso, who claims Cuomo and she used to date, the claims rather, I got that all wrong. The claims against Cuomo
hug and kiss people casually.
Oh yeah, he does hug and kiss people
claims
casually.
that she is making against Cuomo date back to 2021. They did not date. Camiso alleges Cuomo made unwanted advances and attempted to engage in some sexual acts with her as well.
Wow.
I do hug.
Well, this is not hugging and kissing,
casually.
sir.
No, that's a little more than that. You know, there were a lot of people that signed up for this. It was supposed to be this trip of a lifetime. You know, you let go of your apartment or your house and you climb onto this cruise ship.
Oh, that's what we're doing. Courtney and I are taking the 3-year. Oh, wait a minute.
No, you're not. No.
What happened?
No.
Oh, wait a minute.
It was supposed to be a 3-year trip around the world.
Yes, I'm excited about it.
But everybody who signed up has been left high and dry. Mm-hmm.
What?
The price has rivaled regular living expenses. So, you know, if you kind of look at what you spend every year on mortgage or rent and food, but then, you know, you think you can afford the cruise. No, it's about the same. But the dream is over.
Well, and the cruise is going all over the world. So for the same money that you're paying, you now on a cruise ship is taking you all over the world. It's a great deal. What could possibly go wrong?
No. Life at Sea Cruises' inaugural 3-year voyage, the company had weeks of silence. And now they're acknowledging to their passengers they have no ship. They had to cancel the departure. They say they'll refund those who signed up for the cruises, costing up to hundreds of thousands of dollars. They were originally supposed to leave Istanbul, Turkey, November 1st, but that was postponed to November 11th, and then they were relocated to Amsterdam in the Netherlands, and then November 30th from Amsterdam. But on November 17th, less than 2 weeks before the third departure date, passengers were informed the cruise was off. Problem here is some people already sold their houses. Some people were already waiting in Istanbul for the cruise. People are prepared. They've got everything they need for 3 years packed and ready to go. No, it's not happening.
That is unreal. There should be
What can you tell us about the scene?
No, they're not going to be leaving, Larry. People that stranded, they've already sold their homes in many cases.
Some people rented out their homes, so it's not like you can just kick the renters out.
That's just brutal.
There's a whole lot of people right now with nowhere to go.
Oh my God. Exactly.
Some people even need a refund to plan a place to go. It's not good. One passenger was saying until they get the promised refund, they don't know what to do.
We booked a cruise on Crystal. This is about 2 years ago. And Crystal went bankrupt in the time between us booking the cruise and the actual cruise departure date. And we scrambled to get our money back. We did get it back. But, this is not completely unprecedented. But in this case, that kind of trip, 3 years on board a ship, that is unprecedented. And then to have it go belly up, wow.
Well, most people spent tens of thousands of dollars. And now the company is saying it will make repayments in monthly installments.
Yeah, the company's got financial problems. That's the reason they're not taking off to begin with.
Monthly installments? No, give me back what I paid, right?
Exactly. It's another, ripoff.
I did everything right and they indicted me.
Yeah, he's not involved with it.
They have offered to pay for accommodations until December 1st and flights home for anyone who's now stranded in Turkey.
Oh, that's cool.
My bad. I'm sorry.
Right.
But some people say, listen, there's just nowhere for us to go.
Yeah.
And so you're going to pay for a flight for me to go back to a place where I've already rented out my house or sold it. And I don't know what you want to do.
Yeah.
So.
These are people, it's a life thing. Yeah. It's a real problem.
I'm not going to cry.
I'll bet you people are crying. And this is something they can cry over. Anyway, all right.
What a disappointment.
Yeah.
Lastly, and this isn't a fun one to end on, but it is important. Pro-Palestinian protesters disrupted the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. I don't know if anybody saw that one happen.
Oh, yeah, they glued their hands or something? What happened?
They tried to glue themselves to the parade route. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was several people.
It's a wild idea, but it just might work.
Well, it did stop. I think it stopped the parade, didn't it?
For a bit, just for a little bit. 30 people in this protest. Several of them jumped over barriers at West 45th Street and fixed themselves to 6th Avenue. The protesters were wearing fake bloodied jumpsuits with the word colonialism, racism, militarism, etc. on them.
Those are all the major isms.
Yeah, all the isms. The Thanksgiving Day floats, bands, and balloons were redirected from 6th Avenue to their final destination at Macy's in Herald Square. So the parade went on. The glue did not hold. And that was the way that ended up.
Oh, my gosh. That's just brutal. If you're,
I think you know what the problem is just as well as I do.
The problem is people have glued their hands to the pavement.
Mental note, gluing your hands to the street never works out well.
Yeah. Wow.
This report is sponsored by
Feels great, baby. All right,
Coachella Valley Coffee.
Love our Coachella Valley coffee.
I have an order of tea on the way to me as we speak, and I'm going to try the vanilla.
The holiday blend right now.
Are you? The holiday blend is good.
Delicious.
Yeah. And that is only available how long? Because, you know,
I think it's available through the holidays, but you can always put something in your comments. They're very cool. That's one of the great things about handling needs of all of our listeners. Tell them you're a listener of the Mark Thompson Show. They will take care of you. And the other thing they're doing is offering subscriptions. He went through them, Cliff did when we had him on. And there's some good values there. So, I mean, this is higher-end coffees and teas. I mean, as you know, everything's hand roasted in the way of coffee. These crops are chosen very carefully. It's always fresh grow. This is not like year-old beans. That's why these beans are not discounted like the way you can find discounted beans. Anyway, my point is, definitely.
I was just going to say, it's not inexpensive, but a lot of people like to have really nice coffee to drink, right? That's the one place where they splurge a little bit.
Great coffee, great tea. When it comes to what you're putting in your mouth, make sure it tastes great. And this is the best coffee I've ever tasted. They have, all the tasting notes are there, so you can find the coffee that's best for you. And the big thing is 10% off with Mark T at checkout for our listeners. 10% off Mark T at checkout. And so jump on it. Whatever you buy, if you get for a subscription, let's say, put the Mark T in. You'll get 10% off the subscription. So it all works.
I'm Kim McAllister. This is The Mark Thompson Show.
Hey, which one do you use, Mark Thompson?
Who's Mark Thompson?
The Mark Thompson Show.
How about it for the former senior correspondent at ABC News? This guy covered the White House for years. He's been all around into war zones. He's the real thing. Jim Avila, everybody.
Good morning,
Jim,
Mark.
sadly,
Morning,
good morning. Kim, I think he's on the road to a new job. As you know, we caught him. He was very generous to spend time on our show for the last year as someone who could weigh in on various world events, domestic events, political events. And I get such great feedback on your appearances, Jim. And now you've taken your talents and you are going to the ABC station in San Diego, where you're leading up their investigative unit there. It's a real team of investigators. You're doing great work. At least it looks as though potentially it'll be some great stuff over the next couple of years. But we're going to lose you here, aren't we?
Yeah, and I'm really sorry about that, Mark, because I really enjoy my visits with you and with Kim and with your audience. But this is an opinion thing here. And now if I go back into the news, I really can't do opinion anymore. I really have to stick to the facts. And you want no facts on your show, so we are going to have to leave.
We do want your takes on things. It's true. So if that upsets the apple cart, then you got to move on. Kim, Kim, you're muted. You're muted, Kim. But we see you holding your heart, which would suggest that you are particularly distressed. Kim really adores you. I think it's unhealthy how much Kim likes you. But I understand why, I understand why your station management may not have been cool with it.
I have to stop writing the column too. It's all opinion, So
sure.
They're paying the big bucks, Mark. So we gotta,
you gotta
go with it.
What do you make of as we slide into the holidays, what do you make of one of the things that people love about you, so even as I ask the question, I'll just give you this little short preamble. One of the things people love about you is that you, despite all the polling and all of the various news about Biden's age and about the fact that in a head-to-head, Trump shapes up quite well, even in swing state voters who are polled, you really seem pretty unconvinced of the notion that Biden is going to lose if he's the Democratic candidate, which he will likely be. You maintain that position, right?
I maintain that position as long as Donald Trump is his opponent. I don't believe that Americans, and I can't believe that Americans will, now that they've seen what a Donald Trump presidency means and the fact that he has gone off the rails, using words that remind people of Hitler himself, that they will in fact vote for Donald Trump, even if Joe Biden seems a bit frail. He may seem frail, but he's not wacky. He's not making decisions that are that even hurt people he disagrees with. He's just not that way. So I don't think that the American public, and if the American public somehow votes for Donald Trump, they deserve Donald Trump, and I will likely be moving. He is destructive. He is trying to destroy our country, and if we let him do that by electing him again, then that's the country they deserve.
Tell me what you thought of his Thanksgiving message, Kim. Didn't you read it to me last night? Kim and I had a little Thanksgiving visit by phone, and Kim read me the abusive insults that were littered through his Thanksgiving message. I mean, Thanksgiving message is like one of those layups. You don't need to say anything but, wishing everybody, all Americans a happy Thanksgiving in these troubled times, give thanks for each other, whatever the hell you say, right?
Yeah.
This
Quite
guy,
the holiday message Donald Trump gave. Yes.
What did he say, Kim?
It's on video, and it was basically just, it was more Trumpisms. It was all hurling insults, naming people, insulting people, and it went on and on.
Oh. Albert, we didn't rally that video. I would have liked to have seen it. But I know on Truth Social, he also kind of... and Truth Social, by the way, Kim and Jim both, I think you're probably aware, now I think it's lost $37 million. So that's an effort that is failing for him. But this...
he's a disaster.
Yeah. So... This negativity does resonate with some, but you're maintaining, again, just to remind everyone, that you're saying, sure, his support is unshakable, but that support is not sufficient to win the presidency.
Right. It's huge in the Republican Party. So he gets 50 to 60%, right, of the Republican Party. But remember, the Republican Party is a minority party in the first place, okay? The demographics of the Republican Party are terrible. They're old. They're small. They have fewer voters in the Republican Party than are in the Democratic Party. So it's a minority party in the first place. And then, so if you take 50% of the minority party, there's still only 35 to 40% of Americans in general who support him. Democrats will never vote for him. And, some of them may stay home, which is troubling. And independents may stay home, may not be motivated by either one. That's a problem. And I'm not saying there's not any problems. I'm saying that with Donald Trump as the Republican candidate, Democrats are safe.
Let me ask you about the Democrats themselves. If you have to move or whatever, let me know. But the Democrats, as a result, I think, of what's happening in Gaza and the entire Hamas-Israeli showdown, and that's a polite way to put it. I mean, it was a bloodbath and has continued to be a bloodbath, and the atrocities perpetrated by Hamas, and then the horror of the bombing and the destruction in Gaza, and so many losing their lives. There's a split in the Democratic Party over this, and younger people, sub 30, I believe it was, or sub 35. I'm remembering kind of just a little foggy on that. But 70% of that demographic in the Democratic Party, they don't support our position as a country supporting Israel. Does that? I'd love your thoughts on this, and also your take from a political standpoint, what that means.
Well, I think it's true. I think that young people do not have the history with the Israeli state that many in the the older generations do. We've been through a lot with the Israelis, and the fact that some Arab countries, most Arab countries, have been trying to eliminate them from the beginning of 1948 when they established their state. So the young people there are young people who do side with the Palestinians. And look, there is a side for the Palestinians. The Palestinians have been shat upon not only by the Israelis, but by their own Arab countries, by Jordan, who kicked them all out, by Egypt, who won't allow them in. So there is a sympathy to be given to Palestinians, not to Hamas, but the Palestinian people. And many people believe, and I tend to believe with them, that the Israelis have gone overboard, and the destruction of Gaza, not just of Hamas, but of Gaza, has turned many people against them. And Joe Biden and his generation will support Israel no matter what, and that has hurt him among the public. But when you go in a year from now, when we go into the voting booth, are you really going to, as even young people, are they really going to decide they're going to vote for Donald Trump instead of Joe Biden because of that? Donald Trump wants to not allow Palestinians or any Arabs, any Muslims into this country. He wants to close the door. So are those folks going to vote for him? Are young people who support Palestinians going to vote for Donald Trump? It's a poor choice, but I don't think that's going to happen. And the same thing happens with the rest of the Democratic coalition that is fading a little bit now among African Americans, among Latinos. Those people will all come back. They'll stay at home. And so then it becomes a motivation trick on whether or not who's motivated to come to the polls. And I don't think Donald Trump will. Now, if there's another Republican who emerges, Nikki Haley's getting a little bit of a bump. Nikki Haley comes off as a moderate on many of these issues, including abortion, where she's not, but she comes off that way. And if she is the candidate, then I would say the Democrats have a real problem.
It's interesting, too, Jim, you talk about these different factions and both parties are made up of all these different factions. But you talk about the black vote and the Hispanic vote and these vote, the senior vote, the young demographic vote. And you do need everybody to show up for the Democrats to do well, because the Democrats, as you've just noted a couple of minutes ago, they have an overwhelming dominance from the standpoint of who all those people are, where they are, and how many of them there are. But in some of the ways that you've just noted, they might lay out. There are third-party choices as well. I mean, it's not just Joe Biden or Donald Trump, assuming Trump makes it all the way to the finish line and is the candidate. I mean, there could be votes siphoned off from a Jill Stein or even a JFK Jr. or Joe Manchin. I wonder if you could evaluate Joe Manchin's likelihood of running as a third-party candidate.
Well, I think it's possible. Depends if you believe him. If you believe him, he says he's not going to be a spoiler. He's not going to win, so his only choice is to be a spoiler. So he probably should sit out. I think most Americans learned their lesson in the Hillary Clinton-Donald Trump first election in 2016, that a vote for a third-party candidate is a vote for Trump. Now, in today's environment, is it really a vote for Trump? Maybe not. I don't think those who support Robert F. Kennedy are really those who would support Joe Biden in the first place. He's not a conspiracy theorist. Joe Biden is not. Donald Trump is. If you're a conspiracy person, you're going to go with Robert F. Kennedy, and you're coming away from Donald Trump, not from Joe Biden. I don't think he's going to hurt him much. I don't think that the other protest candidates are really going to amount to much. So I'm not really that concerned about them as much. I'm most concerned about the fact that his voters, his 35%, will remain motivated. Okay, so the Democrats have to work hard to remain motivated and to become motivated before the election in a year from now. I think they will be, and I think what you're going to find is that they are going to come back to the Democratic Party when everything settles down, and when this Palestinian-Israeli conflict simmers down a bit. We're seeing it simmer down now, even with the ceasefire and with the hostages being returned. So, I still believe that Biden is going to be a majority of Americans' choice. And if it's not, then we get what we deserve. And we got what we deserved for 4 years. We all died because of COVID, because of this guy. People were dying by the hundreds of thousands, and it was preventable. You want a return of that? Be my guest. I'll be in Spain.
Yeah.
You're laughing, but I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I will not be here for a second Trump term.
How do you work Spanish citizenship, Jim Avila? Do you have a sponsor or something? How does it work over there? Have you looked into it for real?
I've looked into it. You can retire there, and you can still get.
You can buy your way
work
in, effectively. Yeah.
Well, you can't work, but you can retire.
I see.
And get your money from whatever retirement pensions and Social Security that you get. You can take it in a foreign country. So in Spain, and Spain is a relatively cheaper place to stay. Of course, I just signed a 3-year contract, so maybe my ambitions are a little less.
I think you're a little
really
out over your skis on that, Jim Avila.
Right.
I mean,
I'm pulling for a Biden win while I still can.
Hey, last thing I want to ask you about is an effort on the part of several states to put sensible gun restrictions in place. I mean, essentially a kind of, again, these are limits on magazine size and ammunition and the sorts of guns that people can own. Assault rifles being outlawed in a couple of these states. Again, 2 states, specifically Maryland and Oregon, they are apparently not now permitted to go against the power of the law from the Supreme Court to allow them to. You cannot restrict essentially gun ownership or even the ownership of these high-capacity ammunition magazines. It flies in the face of court rulings. So both Oregon and Maryland are told, hey, sorry, great idea, but you can't do it. It's unconstitutional.
Right, and I think what has to happen is there has to be a win in the House and the Senate, and then they narrowly tailor some things, which includes, I still think there can be an AR-15 ban, a ban on semi-automatic rifles. That passed and was in law. There's precedent for it. I think that still can happen. So what has to happen is the Congress and the Senate both have to turn over. The Senate's going to be very tough. I think the House is going to turn over to Democrats, because all those people who in New York, upstate New York, and in California, I think they've learned their lesson. They'll come back. But in the Senate, it's a very tough road, as you pointed out. The ones that are up for election now. But the Republicans are such losers, and they've lost so many, that it's certainly possible they'll lose again in the Senate even.
And just to be pure about it, so everybody knows, it was a 3-judge panel in Richmond, Virginia, ruling that a 10-year-old Maryland law related to licensing requirements for handguns was unconstitutional. And then in Oregon, a state judge, this happened on the same day, a state judge in southeastern Oregon concluded that a ballot initiative approved by voters that would prohibit high-capacity magazines and require background checks and training to obtain gun permits, that violated the state constitution. So those are the 2 judicial rulings, just to be clear about it. I think I might have said Supreme Court. These are troubled times, man, and I'm going to miss you on this show. I think you really are a voice of clarity, and you've got such terrific experience that you draw on, Jim. You just give us a real sense of the landscape in ways that I think very few others can. Kim, did you want to say goodbye to your boyfriend, Jim?
Yes, I want to say goodbye to my boyfriend, my news crush. Can we maybe change your name and put up a mysterious picture?
I already did that.
That way, no one will know who you are, and we get to keep you. Is that no? That's not cool.
I don't think I'm going to be able to get it past them. I mean, let's. I mean, I didn't want to first thing go into a, hey, I'm here, and now I'm going to fight you right away. Not a good look. So I think let's give it a little bit, and then hopefully I'll come back and talk to you on special occasions.
What a privilege
certainly
for me to.
Certainly on those special events that Mark has, since those aren't broadcast, I can come in and say hello.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, when we do the meetups, he can still still meet up since it's not broadcast. I love that. I love that as a fallback. You've given me something to hope for. Hey, Jim.
Thanks.
Yeah,
It's a total privilege, though, to get to know you on this show. You're so awesome, and I'm gonna miss you.
Oh,
I'll be around, Kim. Don't worry.
A lot of people with a lot of love for Jim Avila in the chat. Jim, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your holiday season, and we will talk to you soon. Good luck.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Jim Avila, everybody.
Yay.
Yeah. Wow.
The Mark Thompson Show.
It was great. I loved it.
How would you handle this? We could try ignoring it, sir.
Morning.
You cannot say you love your country.
Where are my weed smokers at?
Stay at home and get baked.
Yeah. Smash that like button like a boss. Give me a thumbs up wherever you are, however you are listening. The Culture Blaster next after a film that says Spain is beautiful. Jim, I'm going to join you in Spain, says John. We'll get the Culture Blaster situated, and then he will get into some movies and reviews and that kind of thing. So we'll get that going. Smash the like button, Mark Thompson Show. Yeah.
Smash it with your iron rod.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Who's Mark Thompson?
Hey, which one of you is Mark Thompson?
That's not fake. That's real.
It's fantastic.
There's never been anything like this.
We've never seen anything like it before.
Nobody has ever put something like this together that I've ever seen.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
There is nothing in our history that quite compares to this.
Big shout out.
Receive the rod of equity and mercy.
I did everything right and they indicted me. I misspoke. My bad. I'm sorry.
I don't think you should apologize for how you feel.
Did you really just do that?
All right, let's do it. I'm excited that it is the holiday weekend. It's a big movie weekend. I think the studios really count on people going to the movies. And we welcome in a guy who knows every kind of film. Really, I'm talking about the comic book, the DC universe, the Marvel universe. Heard a great story about Stan Lee last night. I may get it into the mix in a future show. But this guy also knows the subtitle movies, the sophisticated stuff. He comes and goes on a rainbow. How about it for the great Culture Blaster, Michael Snyder?
And good afternoon, everybody. And here we are, a couple of white guys hanging out on Black Friday. I feel like...
it's not that kind of black, but thank you.
Okay. I feel like I should be out shopping instead of hanging out with you, but it's okay.
Baby.
Yeah. What? By the way, you've got to be buoyed by the 49ers.
Oh, Lordy, that was a good game. And it actually put a few demons to rest. A number of years ago, there was a Thanksgiving game between the 49ers and the Seahawks on the newly christened Levi Stadium. The Seahawks won, and in a moment of arrogance, Richard Sherman, who was at that point arch enemy number one as a member of the Seahawks, and Russell Wilson, the Hobbit himself, ate turkey legs on the Niners logo. It drove people crazy. So lovely to see the...
is that a real thing, or did you make
it's
that
an
up?
absolute real thing.
I remember Sherman did something. Was it that?
No, it was they ate the turkey legs on the 49er logo at the 50-yard line, and people were in an uproar. So how wonderful that the tables were turned and our stars gathered to chow down on turkey. And as according to Christian McCaffrey, it was moist and delicious turkey. He couldn't believe how they kept it warm. And it was, anyway, if you did watch the show post game, you saw that George Kittle actually took the entire carcass off the table on the field and brought it back to the locker room. And on his way, he heaved turkey at the field. But what was really terrific, and boy, I don't like Chris Collinsworth at all, but he did point out, he and Mike Tirico pointed out that Brock Purdy and Debo were holding the turkey legs like Olympic torches, and these NBC broadcasters used it to promote the Olympics in Paris, and they played the Olympic theme as these guys were walking off holding up the turkey legs to the fans. I thought it was absolutely great.
Very, very funny and good stuff. Well, welcome, Culture Blaster. What do you have for us today?
Well, I did want to say that I had a lovely Thanksgiving feast yesterday at an upscale Mexican restaurant. I went to Acapulco for Thanksgiving. Well, that was the name of the restaurant.
I see.
It was a delicious repast, traditional turkey and all the fixins, plus Mexican dishes, and I actually thought of Kim when I spotted a bowl of tortilla chips.
I love it.
We had a crying baby in our group, and it's amazing when the crying baby is in your group, you kind of ignore it. And so I kept eating, and people at surrounding tables were in an uproar.
It sounds very nice.
It was a really lovely time, and I had a great time with friends and family. And let's get to some movies. What do you say?
Please.
Okay, let's start with Wish. As a Disney kid who grew up and still love the classic movies, old and new, and I have a special affection for the Duck family, comics and cartoons, Donald Duck, Uncle Scrooge, and what have you.
You know that stuff and like it.
I wished Wish was a better movie. It's about the power of wishes as couched in a community whose citizens have heedlessly given the magic of their wishes to a wizardly ruler.
I'll ding heedlessly.
That wizard, whose name is, get ready, King Magnifico, promises to give up the rare wish to a specially chosen citizen and make it come true for the wisher, even as he feeds off the energy of an entire country's worth of wishes. This is the premise, okay?
I see.
Getting your wish realized is about as likely as winning the lottery, right? And that shows the nature of the king's abuse of his subjects. I guess it's not bad. It's beautifully animated with quality voice acting from Ariana DeBose as the heroine. And since there are songs, having this talented singer belt them out doesn't hurt one bit. She plays the heroine Asha, who wants to restore stolen wishes. Chris Pine is the villainous but elegant King Magnifico, magically powered, wish-consuming leader of the country of Rosas. And let's not ignore the requisite talking animals, as if we could.
Requisite.
And an eminently marketable and cheerfully helpful celestial energy ball called Star, who comes from the heavens, naturally, some nice, although perhaps overly familiar sounding show tunes, and that glorious animation, but it is clearly as much brand enhancement as a 100th anniversary celebration of the Walt Disney Studios as it is a new movie. It's to the point that the end credits actually feature a series of sparkly representations of virtually every significant animated Disney feature, from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs to Frozen, Encanto, and Strange World. It's pretty blatant. Other notable voice actors include Alan Tudyk, Victor Garber, Evan Peters, and Harvey Guillen. These are talented performers, and they obviously bring their A games. It's, a prestige Disney production.
Sure.
Well directed by Chris Buck and Fawn Versunthorn, even if its visuals and its script by Jennifer Lee, Allison Moore, and Buck is so boilerplate and so full of Easter eggs, nods to Disney canon and motifs, and references to timeless fairy tales and fables that one fears the specter of AI was somehow involved. Like they downloaded the entire Disney library
and figured out ways to...
And the complete Brothers Grimm into a program and said, give us a people-pleasing animated feature to mark Disney's 100th anniversary. And that movie, for better or worse, is Wish. To reiterate, not bad, but I preferred it when it was named, okay, insert title of your favorite Disney movie here.
I see. It just quacked like... a lot of other Disney fare. Canon, I will ding in this context.
Well, you do you, Mark.
But all right,
it's in theaters. Wish it's okay, but I want so much more.
So Kim could bring the family to Wish if she wanted to.
If she wanted to, it'll be a good watch on Disney Plus. But it is not a great film. It is not a Disney classic, despite being in the slot of the 100th anniversary.
How about?
I'm so disappointed. I was really hoping it was going to be a good one.
Turn her up a little bit, Albert, will you please?
It's not bad,
maybe
Kim.
Maybe
it's not bad at all. But it's just not, it's not all that. And
maybe
a bag
you can
of
go,
chips.
Kim, and you'll disagree with, yeah, maybe you'll disagree with the Culture Blaster.
Likely not.
I don't know. We'll see.
So Culture Blaster, what about Napoleon?
Okay.
This is a big movie that I'm curious about.
I know. Seemingly intended as a kind of sprawling survey of a legendary life, Napoleon comes to the screen, big and eventually small, from veteran director Ridley Scott. Okay, this guy, Gladiator, Alien, Thelma and Louise, Blade Runner, and The Martian are just a few highlights of his career. So he teams with screenwriter David Scarpa to ostensibly tell the tale of Napoleon.
Ostensibly.
It runs 2 hours and 28 minutes, and it's set in a meticulously produced late 18th and early 19th century France and Europe in general.
So that's done very well. You're
beautiful.
Saying. Meticulously.
The cinematography is gorgeous, with elaborate and expertly executed battle scenes and significant historical incidents recreated. You get kind of terse and sometimes droll, amusing moments of intimacy between the Corsican-born French army officer who would conquer much of Europe and become Emperor of France, Napoleon Bonaparte.
Droll is a ding word.
So he's the nominal central figure of the movie, and he's there. You see him with his wife, Josephine, or his colleagues in the government and military.
Who plays Josephine?
Well, we'll get to that, because we haven't mentioned Joaquin Phoenix, who plays Napoleon.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, the actors in the leads, Phoenix and Vanessa Kirby, as Josephine, are no slouches, although, Phoenix doesn't seem to be of the period.
Oh, that's interesting.
I felt him to be a little light on the preternatural forcefulness and gravitas needed to play such a
preternatural,
powerful and driven person. Mm-hmm. And while Phoenix comes off as kind of short in these respects, he never appears as short as we're always told the real man was. So I'm watching.
How tall was Napoleon? Do you know?
I don't know, but I'm watching and thinking, where's the Napoleon complex?
I know how. But wait a minute. I'm asking all of you in the chat. How tall was Napoleon?
It's a Mark Thompson time waster, ladies and gentlemen.
Classic Mark Thompson time waster. We do these during Snyder. Do you know, Kim? Do you know how tall Napoleon was? He's got this reputation, and Snyder's just done it, taking a shot about how short he was.
I'm gonna say 5'3".
5'3" is the guess from Kim. Anybody in the chat want to take a guess? I will give you a few seconds to try to guess how tall Napoleon was. 5'7" says Kathleen Bryant. 5'6" says shadow producer Calvin Wong, and he is right. 5'6" is the answer.
That is not so short. So we've been misled over the years.
That's exactly why I asked the question. It's not. He wasn't super short. But anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, he was complex. But anyway, yes. As for the rest of the cast, it's fine. In fact, Ben Miles from Andor, The Crown and Coupling, Tahir Rahim, so amazing in The Serpent, and Francis Ludivine-Seigneur of numerous significant French movies and the recent TV series Lupin. All actors I admire are among the supporting players. Yet when it was over, I felt a little numb. As much as I appreciated a number of its epic moments as played out on the IMAX screen where I saw it.
Wow. I'll bet it's spectacular.
I felt that it never really let me know what made Napoleon tick, what drove his hunger for power, although it does suggest that trying to hold on to Josephine and hold sway over her when she seemed to have him kind of wrapped around her finger was maybe a motivator of sorts. And the occasional silliness in the dialogue and some of the interplay that Napoleon has doesn't so much humanize the character as create shifting tones that undermine the movie's coherence. Again, it's a movie about the Emperor Napoleon, his battlefield exploits, and his great love for Josephine, and it seems to lack gravitas, or maybe it hopes to find it in explicitly violent, bloody action sequences, which are there in spades. As lengthy as the movie is, we're never shown much of his early life, which might have offered more clarity about him. Although it's linear and kind of chronological in its portrayal of the rise and fall of Napoleon, it kind of felt like stuff was missing. So, as prodigious achievements go, Scott's Napoleon looks like one, and many of the pieces are impressive in an isolated way. And to be fair, Scott says that there's a longer miniseries version of this Napoleon that may show up on Apple Plus, whose studio is one of the production entities behind the movie, which suggests that what's in theaters now is an edited down version of the project. And if that's the case and the whole thing is made available, I will watch the whole thing, despite my quibbles about the feature film.
Wow.
It's in theaters in multiple formats, including 70 millimeter and, as mentioned, IMAX. And if you are going to see it in the theater, go see it in one of those big formats because visually, it's stunning.
Kim?
You know who liked this movie, apparently? The French. It had a huge opening in France. Took in 1.019 million from 120,000 tickets sold opening day on Wednesday.
There's never been anything like this.
They wanted to go see it.
Let's be straight up about this, Kim. If it was a movie about Maurice Chevalier, it also would have done really, really well. The French love their own, man. Oh, man. Something that's far more my speed than Wish or Napoleon. And again, I went into both of those thinking, oh, man, am I excited?
Yeah, you were
to see
excited
it.
about both.
Both of them. Saltburn, the darkly humorous and a cheerfully perverse follow-up to the Oscar-winning filmmaker Emerald Fennell's similarly twisted and compelling movie Promising Young Woman, which you may recall starred Carey Mulligan as a woman who is abused by men and becomes a sort of avenging angel. So Saltburn is sort of the flip side to Promising Young Woman. In Saltburn, Oliver Quick, a nebbishy student at posh Oxford University, a place you know, Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
That's why I'm wearing this Rhodes T-shirt today, by the way.
Oh, very impressive. Yes, I was
well,
educated at Oxford.
Partially. Anyway, this guy Oliver becomes enamored of a wealthy golden boy type named Felix Catton, and Oliver, played by Barry Keoghan, who always plays these freaks and geeks in movies like The Killing of the Sacred Deer, The Banshees of Inisherin, The Batman. He's like, at the very end of the recent Batman movie, he's the Joker. So this guy is quite at home playing weirdos and misfits. He's doing his best to be accepted, the Oliver character, to be accepted by Felix, who is played by Jacob Elordi, by the way, a guy on the rise, most recently playing Elvis in the Priscilla movie. And the ploys by Oliver work. When the semester ends, Felix invites Oliver to join him and his aristocratic family at their lavish estate, Saltburn, for the entire summer. So the family includes, get ready, Rosamund Pike and Richard E. Grant as Felix's mother and father, Elsbeth and Sir James. I love those actors. Alice and Oliver as Felix's sister, Venetia. Archie Madekwe as Farley Start, who is Felix's American cousin, Paul Reese as Duncan, Saltburn's butler, and Carrie Mulligan reuniting with Fennel as Pamela, an eccentric friend of the Cattons. It's like she's channeling Helena Bonham Carter. I'm like, wow, is that Helena Bonham Carter?
Yeah.
No, it was Carrie Mulligan. Anyway, some of them are wrapped up in their hedonistic pursuits. Some are suspicious of Oliver, even as Felix and his mother appear to welcome the misfit. As the sniping and sarcasm and the regular behavior of the rich and feckless ramp up, Saltburn, the estate starts to feel like a powder keg with a lit and ever-shortening fuse. And Saltburn, the movie, gets ever more cutting in its takedown of the class system, profligate lifestyles, social climbers, and general moral decay. Keegan, like I said, is no stranger to playing weirdos, and he's equal parts riveting and disturbing as Oliver. He'd be reason enough to see the movie, but the other characters are so well-defined and performed by the rest of the cast, and the writing in general is so sharp that Saltburn almost burns itself into your consciousness as you watch it. And the burn, kind of like the hotter dishes at Brandy Ho's in North Beach or Jitlada in Hollywood, may make you sweat, but it also may trigger endorphins or at least give you a bracing shock to the system. Saltburn is in theaters.
Wow. So of the three, the two that you thought you'd really love, you're not in love with.
Well,
but Saltburn is the one that really pinned the meter for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
I didn't have a chance to talk about it last week, and I'll just say quickly, The Stones and Brian Jones is a really worthwhile documentary about the guy who actually started the Rolling Stones and was the initial sex symbol before Mick Jagger, as the frontman, began to lap him in a lot of ways, and he became increasingly caught up in drugs and self-abuse. Brian Jones, very talented musician, and the great documentarian Nick Broomfield has made a pretty cool documentary with archival footage and stuff I'd never seen before about Brian Jones's relationship to the Rolling Stones, his early life, and his tragic demise. And I highly recommend it. It's available on many streaming outlets. The Stones and Brian Jones.
Wow. So to review, for those of you who are just joining us, I would encourage you, if you are just joining us, to go back and listen to the entire review. But The Stones and Brian Jones, you just heard, Michael likes it as a documentary to remind us of Brian Jones and how he fit into the Stones and who the Stones were and became.
He founded the group.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I need to see it because I don't know a whole bunch about the Stones. Saltburn, the darkly humorous offering with Oliver Quick and Barry Keoghan and Rosamund Pike and Carrie Mulligan. Michael really liked it.
Yeah, Keoghan plays Oliver Quick, who is this guy who just wants to worm his way into
Keoghan plays Oliver
into
Quick.
the aristocracy, a modest fellow.
I get it. All right, thank you.
I'm sure you're suffering from post-Thanksgiving.
My notes are a bit confusing on everything.
That's fine.
Napoleon, the Ridley Scott movie, looks amazing. Michael encourages you to see it in the biggest, baddest way you can. Joaquin Phoenix. Somehow, I think Joaquin Phoenix may be the greatest actor of his generation or among them, but somehow you were left a little empty on this one, Michael.
It feels scattered.
All right. It's a lot to take on, to be fair, Napoleon. Vanessa Kirby is also in it.
Remember the first three letters of Napoleon spell nap. and so... I mean, I'm not saying I was dozing off. There's explosions and cannonballs.
It is long, the movie.
It is.
But you did like it. It's just that you didn't love it.
I admired it more than liked it.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. And then Wish is how we started the Disney offering with Chris Pine and a bunch of other big stars. He actually said, hey, the stars were good. The performances are really great.
Looks beautiful.
Looks gorgeous. It's just that the substance of what the movie is a little feeling not special, trying to feel warmed over. It's a very Thanksgiving, day after Thanksgiving morning kind of.
Exactly. It's a movie of leftovers. And in fact, there is even a moment, the Disney logo where Tinkerbell flies over the castle?
Sure.
They even basically reproduce that with this little star creature. And I'm like, could you be more blatant? I felt like Chandler Bing. I'm sitting there going, oh my God.
Well, that's a good list. You've done the Lord's work here today. Kim, do you have any Final remarks or questions for Michael before I excuse the witness?
I think Kim left for the after party live.
Oh, I see her there in, that must be her computer something. No. Then
that's cold, Kim.
How
That's
dare
cold.
her? Yeah, I really do. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stay here, and when the after party live's over, I'm going to make her listen to your entire segment again and remark on it publicly.
That's fine. I mean, I introduced her as a supporting player over the course of the segment.
It's outrageous.
I know.
It really is outrageous.
Well, is that any way to treat someone on a holiday weekend?
Exactly. Thanksgiving. Not even enough to give thanks, to hang out. What time is it? I guess she had to leave.
It's 1:07.
You know, we don't have enough time to talk about Monarch Legacy of Monsters on Apple TV, but
I don't know what the hell they do it for.
But we will talk about it next week. I hope we can fit it in then, because I'm enjoying the series.
We're going to get you on even earlier next time so you can have more time to breathe.
I also want to say, before we go, Jim Avila, best of everything. You have been such an asset to this program.
That's true.
I go out of my way to check out your segments, and I wish you nothing but success and happiness in the new gig. And can you come back and talk about non-sectarians, things that aren't specifically editorial on your part? Just talk about the hard news. Remember when newscasters talked about the hard news? Remember that? And didn't have an opinion?
Michael, we love you. Go Niners. He comes and goes on a rainbow. Bye, Michael.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Yeah, right on. I'll tell you, Albert, we've kind of wound things down here. I almost don't know where to go.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Michael Snyder was a little hot. Is that what you're telling me, Albert? I just saw that note that Snyder was a little bit hot in his level.
It wasn't too bad. It was pretty even. I turned you up a little bit too. So.
All right, thank you, Albert. Sometimes has to make these technical adjustments, as you might. I'll tell you, Albert, I feel very comfortable right now. I don't really want to leave. Sadly, we must.
We're not married to any clock. That's what I love about YouTube. We could break whenever we want. We could end the show whenever we want. We could start whenever we want.
I so love that, Albert.
There's no me yelling at you for we need to get to Brett right now for news.
That's right.
Me saying in 3 different platforms, Mark, we got to go.
Yeah. Sadly, we do need to leave, but I will tell you that you just made me realize it. One of the texts I didn't get this Thanksgiving season, and you still got the rest of the weekend to do it, is Brett Burkhardt. Nothing from Brett.
Off the better things,
What?
Mark. KCBS, the news station of the Bay Area.
He's all about how much we launched him, but when Thanksgiving comes around, we're waiting. Hey, Albert, are you going to help me book Raj Mathai, though? He just celebrated 25 years in the Bay Area.
That is awesome. Yes, of course.
Because I'm going away, and we can even record something with him. I got a lot of great recorded segments coming up with some amazing guests for the rest of December. So maybe we can get that going as well. So, Albert, I'll leave you with that for the weekend.
I'm Shadow Stevens for the Mark Thompson Show.
And Shadow Stevens.
Bye-bye.
Everybody, thank you.
Out of time. Bye-bye.
Sincerely, we appreciate it. After Party Live's going on now till Monday. Bye-bye.